Alright, what is up everybody? JaangoPops here, with another video, this time talking about the PS5, which has been a video long in the making for me. I've been wanting to make this one for a minute, but never really got around to it. Just in advance if my voice sounds weird, apologies. This is an early morning video. Like I said, I hadn't really had the time to make this video, so I just decided to make it at a random time like right now. So without any further delay, let's go ahead and get into the news, speculation, all of that. So if I'm not mistaken, it was 2013 when the PS4 and Xbox One both launched. It is now 2019, which means there's about 6 years now, going on 7 years, so we are definitely due for new consoles from both Sony and Microsoft with the PlayStation 5 and Xbox One, and it seems that Sony with the PS5 has been showing off lots of details and other interesting things on the console, so let's go ahead and check those out right now. Looking back at how the lifespan was for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 to the PS4 and Xbox One, it's definitely plausible that we would be getting new consoles sometime within the next maybe year to 3 years, especially because Nintendo dropped the Nintendo Switch in 2017, and Nintendo is usually, when it comes to consoles, just ahead of the game with the next generation, as they were with the Wii U. That's just some small added detail I thought I'd throw out there. So I was gonna do a reaction video like I have with my Ultimate Alliance 3 stuff, but there wasn't really much to react to besides the actual demonstration of the loading times. But the loading times is a thing that I wanted to talk about in this video anyways, so I think I'll just be going ahead and talking about this one. So starting here, we have an article from Tech Radar. PS5, all the games, specs, news, and rumors for Sony's PlayStation 5. I'll be putting a link to this article below. But I'm going to go ahead and just skim through this one more time to see if I missed any important details. So this might sound like a whole bunch of words, because honestly, as someone that is not great with technology, that's kind of what it is to me. I do know a little bit of what this is saying, but I'm just gonna go ahead and read this out as it is in the article. It's kind of just like a just throwing out the things that will provide the PlayStation 5 with its technological advances. It says here in the article, a bespoke 8-core AMD chipset excuse me, based on 3rd generation Ryzen agriculture, with the GPU taking the best bits of the Radeon Navi GPU family, a built-for-purpose SSD storage system, 3D audio, backwards compatibility with PS4 games and PSVR hardware, 8K TV support. It's all been revealed by PlayStation top dog Mark Cerny, the man behind the construction of the PS4, and now in charge of the next-gen consoles development. So basically, the things that are pretty obvious there, just to point out, are the backwards compatibility with PS4 and PSVR, and the 8K TV support. Although I don't really, what are you gonna do with 8K? I feel like, anyways, I'll talk about that at a different time, or maybe not at all. But yeah, so it's definitely getting some technological upgrades from the PS4 and even the PS4 Pro, which is the latest iteration of the PS4, and presumably the last. But the most interesting thing to me, and kind of just in general when it comes to this console, is the built-for-purpose SSD storage system, because the SSD, while it is, as it says, for storage, it also tends to just, in any system, whether it be that computer or, as we're seeing here, in a console, just any system in general, it's speeds up, loading times for applications, games, whatever it may be. So hearing that there is an SSD in the PS5, you already know that the loading times are going to be quite impressive, but there is even an example of how impressive these specs are because of the SSD. So let's go ahead and get into that now. Continuing on here in the article, in a statement sent out following the presentation of the next generation hardware, that being, Sony said the two keywords for the future direction of the PlayStation are, quote, immersive and seamless, unquote, with the immersive experience created by, this is also a quote, sorry, created by dramatically increased graphics rendering speeds, achieved through the employment of further improved computational power and a customized ultra-fast broadband SSD, unquote. So again, that's just talking about how the SSD will be providing the PS5 with a lot of its upgrades, such as load time and, as it says here, graphics rendering, perhaps just upgraded graphics in general, allowing more games to look better, stuff like that. It does, however, say here, which I didn't know until just now, that it's a customized SSD made just for the PS5. That's actually pretty interesting to me personally, because when it comes to SSDs, they're quite expensive if you want a large amount of storage, but it is pretty much accessible to anyone, especially if you like building a PC, something like that. You can get an SSD, but it says here that this is actually a customized SSD. I don't know if it's custom built from the ground up or if it's sort of an SSD that's already been made and it's just tweaked for the PS5, but either way, it is a SSD that is specifically for the PS5, so that's very interesting there. Continuing on again, this time moving away from the SSD and going to more of the hardware and the services that'll be available for the PS5, mainly PlayStation Now and just cloud gaming in general. Going into the article here, the company also reinforced the importance of its cloud gaming plans with PlayStation Now, and a somewhat surprisingly doubled down on its underused remote play feature, saying the evolution of this in the future would be to provide a seamless game experience anytime, anywhere. So this is actually pretty interesting, and I'm glad now that I kind of put this video off, because it's in this article they're talking about the future of cloud gaming, but recently, if I'm not mistaken, sometime last week, there was a announcement of a deal actually between Microsoft and Sony, which was very surprising to a handful of people, myself included. Let me see if I can find an article here really quickly on that. Alright, I'm just going with the first one I saw because I don't want to delay it too long. Another article here coming from The Verge this time. Microsoft and Sony are teaming up for the future of gaming. And basically it's saying that they will collaborate to develop future cloud solutions for gaming and content streaming services. And Sony is looking to Microsoft's vast cloud experience, seeing as Microsoft uses the cloud a very good amount with its hardware. They are looking to Microsoft to basically push their own cloud service into the future and kind of just develop cloud services in general to be a bit more refined, I guess you could say, for the next generation. So that's very interesting there. Here now we're actually moving back to the SSD, and we're also moving back to the Tech Radar article. Sony also showed off a demo of the custom SSD storage system that will be employed in its next gen machine, again hammering home how it expects super fast load times to improve the player experience. Again, this is the video that we've not really seen, but we kind of knew existed from just general news that came out, but this is actually a straight up demonstration of it. in this article, there is the video. In case you haven't seen it, the article will be down in the description below, along with this video, obviously. And this, to me, is kind of what was really interesting, because they showcased not only the speeds in real time, comparing to the PS4 Pro and PlayStation 5, but also they did it with Spider-Man PS4. Great game, by the way, incredible game. Check it out if you haven't already. So the reason that this interested me initially was because it was like pretty much confirmation of backwards compatibility, because you could argue that they tweaked the PS4 or the PS5, excuse me, to make Spider-Man go, because it's one of their most recent exclusives for the PS4, and they wanted to show off the tech using that game. But not only has it pretty much been confirmed that there will be backwards compatibility with PS4, it's also just kind of interesting that they would use Spider-Man in particular to show this off. So yeah, that was just something cool to me. I don't know exactly how long it is in this particular video, but I remember when the news first came out about the PS5 specs and all of that it was saying between the PS4 Pro and PS5, which is in development, it was going about 15 times faster, if I'm not mistaken. Something crazy like that. Basically, it would take the PS4 Pro a couple of seconds to load after doing fast travel in Spider-Man PS4, while on the PS5 it took basically under a second, if I'm not mistaken. It's like 0.8 seconds or something crazy like that. Like, it's times and times faster than it is on the PS4, which is pretty incredible, considering that, again, the PS4 Pro is the latest iteration of the PS4, and we're already pretty much getting some big technical leaps with the PS5, which is coming out hopefully not too long after the PS4 Pro. Then here's the light confirmation, just as Sony has confirmed the PS5's incredibly powerful backwards compatibility. They'll let you play online with PS4 players, so you can expect some of the more popular, or really just, I'm sure, a good handful of multiplayer games on the PS4 to be backwards compatible with the PS5. But that's pretty much all they've said, as it says literally right here in the article, right after that short sentence there. Shortening remains tight-lipped about some specific plans, that including the backwards compatibility, as they've just said that it exists, and not much more than that. So here's something that I found interesting. It says here in the article again, back in May, Sony Interactive CEO John Codera revealed to the Wall Street Journal that the PlayStation 5 would not be releasing until at least 2021. That now seems like a reasonable guess, debunking the report from A Securities that claimed the PS5 could release as soon as Christmas 2019, earlier than the Xbox 2. First of all, let's just get this out of the way right now. No Xbox 2. You gotta change that name. The Xbox One was okay because it was the all-in-one system. You can't have an all-in-two system if you're not doing the Xbox 2. Anyways, Christmas 2019. That's like literally, what is that? That's a couple months from now. That's like 7 months? I can't do math. That's way too soon. There was no way that was ever coming out anytime this year. My personal guess was 2020, just because they were starting to reveal rumors this year, and also I just like the way 2020 sounds. But that's totally not my reason at all for why I want it to be 2020. But it says here that it won't be releasing until at least 2021, which is interesting because they're revealing not a lot, but a fair amount of details for the console, considering that it's not coming out for apparently another 2 years or so. Which is what I was saying earlier in the video, that we would be due for a new console within the next year to 3 years, and it seems like here it won't be for at least another 2 years, so it could be 2+ years until we get the PS5 itself. I was really hoping for 2020, but it looks like we'll be getting it sometime in 2021, perhaps sometime after that. But it's actually not that big of a deal if they're working so hard on the hardware to make this a better experience and a more not futuristic, but basically a more next-gen experience than the PS4. It's not all that bad that it won't be coming out for a little bit longer. Alright, we're not done with the article, but I'm going to kind of get into the speculation right here, combining it with the article, continuing on from the rumor of a Christmas 2019 release. One such rumor is that the PS5 could... Oh, hold on. The PS5 could be backwards compatible with the PS4, PS3, PS2, and original PlayStation, meaning its gaming library could stretch right back to the glory days of the mid-90s. PS4 element of that rumor is now confirmed, as well as the PSVR support. The rest of Sony's vintage catalog remains to be seen. I would love this. I don't know anyone that wouldn't. If it went all the way back to the PS1, that would be absolutely insane. It would probably, arguably be one of the best value consoles in that regard if it goes all the way back there. The Xbox One, if I'm not mistaken, actually does go all the way back to the original Xbox, but that doesn't have every single game, and I'm sure that this wouldn't have every single game either. But the PS5 having its own games, as well as I'm sure it won't be all, but a good handful of PS4, 3, 2, and PS1 games would be absolutely insane. Especially considering, especially, Jesus Christ, especially thinking about what games they could put into backwards compatibility. This could be an even more useful feature here. So, I don't know if this will happen, but they've already confirmed that there's backwards compatibility with the PS4, so I don't think that it's entirely impossible, because if I'm not mistaken, when it came to the PS3, there was backwards compatibility with the PS2, and that was just because of how similar the hardware was. But when they moved on to the PS3, oh god, what was it? Was it the PS3 Slim? I don't know. When they moved on to the next iteration of the PS3, and likewise the generation of the PS4, the hardware became so different from the PS2 that it actually became more of a hassle to have it be backwards compatible with the PS2, so it ended up just getting rid of that, which is why only certain PS3s can play PS2 games, and the only way to really play PS2 games on the PS4 is through the cloud service. I forgot exactly what it's called, but there's some PS2 games on there if I'm not mistaken. But yes, backwards compatibility on the PS4 is incredible. On pretty much any console before the PS4, I would be completely down for. If they did from PS4 all the way to PS1, that would be absolutely insane. And again, I don't know anyone that would be displeased with that, so that would be a very interesting step up from not only the last generation, but just for the PS5 itself in terms of software. So I'm going through the article here again, and it's actually a lot longer than I expected, but this section that's so long is mainly based around more rumors and just like news that's come out generally speaking. So I think I can get into the speculation. Let me just skim down one more time. There's news that the next Xbox could be more powerful than the PS5, which will be interesting if it is. Just skimming through here again. Backwards compatibility patent, we've already kind of got that for the PS4, so that's definitely semi-confirmed. At least it is confirmed for the PS4 itself. Possible games that could be coming for it. Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima, other PS4 stuff that has not yet released, or stuff that was supposed to be for PS4, but will either be for both or just for the PS5. No E3 appearance from Sony. I'll talk about that at some point when I get into the section where I just start talking instead of reading from the article. PlayStation Plus stuff. Just going through one more time to make sure I didn't miss anything. Actually, I don't want to have this beef too long with me just looking through this article, so give me 1 second. Alright, so I'm going to continue on here with the little speculation or just me talking about this generally section, seeing as, again, the article is very long and my phone is too afraid to load it, so I'm going to bring it up on my computer while I talk just generally about the PS5. If I see anything interesting in the article that catches my eye, I'll bring it up. So apologies if there's any cut in between just me talking and actually going back to the article. But let's get into some of the speculation, hopes, dreams, all that good stuff. Release date. I still want 2020. I really still want 2020. Not only would I like to have the console sooner, and yes, admittedly, I did think of it just because the year sounded cool, but seeing as they're coming out with all of these details and there's so many like rumors surrounding it, again, they're not at E3 this year, so they're pretty much giving themselves more time to manufacture and tweak out the PlayStation 5. I almost said 4. So there's another thing that Sony's done recently, which is, what is it called? The State of Play? Something like that. They're doing like their own Nintendo Directs, which is hilarious. You didn't hear this from me, but the past few ones haven't been that great. Anyways, they're doing that. So maybe when it comes down to it, either this year or next year, they might be showing off some PS5 details in their own little show instead of going to E3 itself, which is interesting to me because, and I don't really think this fits too much into this video, but I'm also not going to make a separate video on it, so I'm just going to squeeze this in here. E3 is looking strange this year because a lot of companies, like game developers and just like people in general, seem to be pulling out of E3 this year. It seems to be not as prominent as it was in the past couple years, and with Sony not being there, one of the big three being Marvel. What? Marvel? Let me try that again. Sony being one of the big three, being Nintendo, that's what I was trying to say, Microsoft in itself, Sony not being there is actually a very big hit to E3 itself. Of course, I believe Microsoft and Nintendo will still be doing their own thing. Nintendo obviously having their own presentation, which is a little bit of a longer direct for E3 itself, which is what I was thinking Sony might be doing. But I'm sure that Nintendo will have their presence there during E3, and Microsoft will most likely be there in person with their own presentation as well. But moving on past that, let's see what else is there. I'll talk a little bit more about the backward compatibility. Since it's practically confirmed for the PS4, as they've been talking about keeping the community together through having backwards compatibility with online games, and as they've done the PS5 test on Spider-Man PS4, it's very, very pretty much confirmed, I'd say, that there's already PS4 backwards compatibility. But I believe that this creates ample room for PS3, and I guess I could say PS2, because like there's already the service on the PS4, like I was talking about earlier in this video, that allows you to play a certain select like handful of PS3 and, if I'm not mistaken, PS2 games. I don't want to say there's PS1, because I really don't know of any PS1 games that are on that service. I've never used it personally. I'm just going off of what I remember, so I could be completely wrong, but if I'm not mistaken, PS3 and 2 are the prominent games that are on that service. So I think that just from a standpoint of actually making the software playable on the PS5, that it is completely plausible to have at the very least PS2 and 3 games on there. As I've said already in this video, I would be pretty much ecstatic for if it went all the way back to PS1. That'd be beyond me, honestly. It would be very interesting to see if it could go back all the way to the PS1, because you have a whole lot of games, especially if that were to launch with the console, because admittedly console launches aren't always great. You can see that with the PS4, the Xbox One, and even the Nintendo Switch. There are not always a bunch of games for you to play. There's sometimes just those release games, and then you kind of just, sitting, waiting around for the next games to come out. That was definitely the case with the Nintendo Switch, with Zelda and Mario being like its big games until kind of 2018, dare I say. And that's kind of just how it goes, because you don't always have, the software ready when the hardware just releases. But if there was backwards compatibility and it was there from the start, it would make it much more, should I say profitable? I don't know. It would make it much more useful or smart to get a PS5 if you already have things such as a PS4 or 3, in which case you could use or play your PS4 and possibly 3 and 2 games on the PS5 while you're waiting for the new releases there. Alright, what else is there? Again, I'm just skimming through this article, so I'm trying to talk while also making sure that I don't miss too many details. Let's talk about this actually. So in the article here, it's talking about optical disc drives, which is how you put the little CD thing. I don't know what it's called. It's how you play your games. It's where you put the disc into the system itself. And Microsoft itself actually recently came out with a all digital Xbox One. Is it X or S? One of them. They came out with a new Xbox that is all digital and has no disk drive, and basically all of the games are downloaded onto it. I don't know the price point, but that's not important. Basically, Microsoft is moving into this new diskless era already with the oh my lord, with the Xbox One. I am sorry for all the mistakes I've made in this video. Like I said, this is an early morning video for me. So Microsoft themselves is actually moving into that already with the Xbox One. So it's totally possible that with their next generation console, they'll have, if not a diskless sort of approach to it, that they'll have a diskless, what's the word, like a diskless edition for the next Xbox. And there's a rumor that possibly PS5 could be going the same way as well, but there's no nothing concrete on it just yet. So that was just interesting to bring up really quickly. So it looks like, okay, that's the end of the article. Again, it's a very long article. Check it out for yourself in the description. The last thing I really wanted to talk about was the price point, because the price point has been what's kind of being argued and debated just by people generally speaking. And the reason that is because of basically the hardware upgrades that we'll be getting, specifically the customized SSD, which increases loading times when it comes to games and applications dramatically. But as I mentioned again in this video before, SSDs are quite expensive if you want a lot of storage, and they're manufacturing custom SSDs for their new console, so that's already quite expensive in and of itself. But I can't remember. I didn't see it in this article. Maybe I just wasn't reading close enough. But I don't remember seeing anything about how they mentioned the affordable price. Like it'll be a fair, affordable price to PS5. So I don't think it's going to be anything crazy. I've been seeing people say like $600 or more for the PS5. I personally think that's crazy. I've seen some people say $500 or less, which is a bit more seeable for me personally. I've been seeing very few people go below like 500, like maybe some 400, which again I think is a little bit too cheap. Like that just doesn't sound right to me. My personal opinion, I think it'll be $500 at launch. It could be 600, but that's really, I don't know, because didn't they have some like whole debacle with the PS3 where it was like way too expensive at launch for what the hardware was? Now, admittedly, there is good hardware in this console that would make it worth that price, but I still feel like they'll be going with the $500 price point, as I believe the Xbox One X actually launched at $500, and that sold pretty well even after the Xbox One itself was already out for a while. So I think it's fair to say that we can expect a $500 price point or something along those lines. So I've got the release date, I've got the backwards compatibility, I've got the price point. Honestly, I think that's about it for now, at least for me. So again, check this link, the article in the description down below. There will be a link. Basically I think that's all I've got for it. I'm trying to make sure that I'm not forgetting any important details that I wanted to talk about, but I think I've got just about everything. Let me know in the comments down below if you're excited for the PS5, what you're thinking the PS5 may have to entail for us, release dates, your opinion on backwards compatibility, any and all the other stuff that has been mentioned in this video and in this article. I would love to hear what other people are thinking, because I think it's really interesting when it comes to different perspectives on how the new console could go. Because, you know, it's nothing set in stone, but we do have these small details here to hold us over until, you know, there's more official stuff coming out. But anyways, that's all I've got for this one. Again, if you want to check out this article for yourself, link in the description below. Any other PS5 news or rumors that come about, I will be sure to make a video on and discuss here with you guys yet again. But until then, let me know in the comments below what you're thinking. My name is JaangoPops, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.